Kia ora koutou, kei te pehea koutou, kei te harekoa ahau. I'm excited, I'm happy that we're kind of moving things online. Buenos dias, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien, always muy bien, yeah. Hey, it's super good to see you. I know this is a little bit of a weird way for us to be doing church. So just so you know where we're going, I'm going to take like 3 or 4 minutes and just give you a bit of context around what we want to start doing online. And then I'm jumping into kind of the Sunday morning sermon. And this is not going to be the normal Sunday morning going forward, and I'll explain that in a minute. I think one of the big things to be aware of as we get into this is that obviously we want to keep doing community, but we want to do community in a different way, right? And so I know things are weird and I know you're busy and you've got life, but I just strongly encourage you to keep connecting into the different little bits and pieces we're going to be doing as an online community. So I'm going to talk about a website and Facebook and all sorts of bits and pieces. I'm just really praying, that as a church, as a CBC faith community during this time, in an amazing way, Jesus actually brings us tighter together, and maybe even some of the fringy folks, you start feeling more part of it, through this, rather than this allowing this to just separate us and flick us all over the place. So that's kind of one of my little prayers, and I'll talk more about it as we go through. Hey, so let me cover a couple of general points about kind of where we're going as a church and how we're going to do online community over the next little while. So we're recording this on Friday afternoon, and at the moment the government has said no gatherings of 100 or less. And so as you know from the email, the elders have made a decision that we want to have no gatherings at all. And our rationale for that is to try and really stop the spread of this virus. And again, if you read the letter, if you didn't get the letter, get hold of me, craig@cbc.net.nz, and I'll shoot you a copy of it that we've communicated to the church. Our core reason is our care for the vulnerable, right? And we want to be considerate as a faith community. It's not about us. It's not about we want to meet together. It's about us going, how do we help stop this virus, slow this virus down in a way that we're caring for our community, and we're caring for the community of Kirikiriroa, Aotearoa, the whole thing. That's kind of our rationale. And if you saw in the email, we're talking about obviously the less connection, the less this virus can be jumping around. So a couple of ideas of way we want to do church online. The first thing is around prayer. We really want to connect with you on prayer. So the prayer network is still going with the normal phone, so you can text on that. If you don't have the number, again, it's been in the newsletter. If you didn't get the newsletter, shoot me an email or Facebook me, contact me through text, and I'll give you the phone number, and we'd love to pull you into that. We've also set up a Facebook Messenger group, and the reason for that was we can be more community in there, because you can post requests, and it's today again is Friday afternoon. We started it this morning, and it's so cool seeing people posting, can people be praying for this? And a whole bunch of people, giving a thumbs up or a heart or whatever. It's just so cool. And then people saying, yeah, I'm praying for you now. I'm like, oh, this is just awesome community. Again, we don't want to see this time fracture our community. I'm just praying that Jesus in a miraculous way brings our community together even stronger. And I'm like, man, I'm seeing that in that little group. So again, if you want to be a part of that, just contact me. You can contact Lindell, and we'll invite you into that little prayer Facebook Messenger group. So real cool. We want to do a lot of praying during this time. And then some Sunday kind of stuff and bits and pieces we're going to do. So this Sunday's different. We're not going to do it like this in a minute. I'll explain that. So a few things we want to do is we're going to have a daily 2 to 3 minute encouragement. So every day I'll do a few, Dave will do a few, and then we're going to include other people in the church, and it'll literally just be a 2 or 3 minute video. They'll just grab their phone and do it, read a verse and something encouraging. We're going to put those on social media, Facebook, Instagram, every day, and we'll be putting them on our Facebook page. So if you saw the email, you see that we've set up a web page, and this is again Friday afternoon. We're not quite there. We're just about there. We should have it up by tonight. And on that's going to be kind of our main place, our hub that you can come together and find out information around what's happening as a church. And so we'll be putting those little encouragements in there as well. So just real short, something you can see. And each day, just read it. Listen to it, watch it, and hopefully get some encouragement and know that as a community, we're still coming together. We're going to work on a thing we're calling having worship Wednesdays. So this is a cool idea that Dave had, and we're going to pull this together by just having a worship leader lead us together in 2, 3, 4 songs. Maybe some prayers, scripture reading as well in there. And this will be Wednesday evenings. We'll live stream it on Facebook. It's probably going to be from around 7. We'll flick you more information around this through email and social media. And again, just a time for us as a community all over Kirikiriroa to just pause and come together, in quotes, online to worship Jesus. If you watch it live on Facebook, you can be commenting and asking people to pray for things and thumbs upping and all that. It's really cool. But we'll also record that and put it on. You can watch it at other times on Facebook, but we'll put it on that website we're talking about as well. So the website is just, if you go to cbc.net.nz and then click on the online community page, and that's where we're going to be putting all these bits and pieces. Another thing, our church is going to be, so we didn't have a lot of time obviously this week. It's been a bit crazy for Dave and I, working some pretty crazy hours. Just pulling things together. So from the next Sunday on, what we'll be doing is kind of a normal church, but cut right down. So we're talking 30, 35 minutes. And the plan is that we'll have 2 or 3 songs, just acoustic, led by one of the worship leaders, some readings, some prayers from different folks in the church, and then Dave or I are going to preach, and the message will be 10, 15 minutes max. So that's kind of where we're heading. We just didn't have enough time to pull all that together for this Sunday, but on future Sundays, that's what we're going to do. And John, our children's pastor, he's working on just pulling some resources together for children, so that we can't obviously have a children's church at the moment, but we want to equip you with some cool resources that you as a parent can be connecting in with your kids. So we've connected already with some cool organisations around the planet to pull those resources together. So we'll push that through social media, and we'll be doing that through the website as well. And then I'm the guy that runs Merge, the youth group, and so I've been chatting heaps of the afternoon with the Merge leaders, just talking about how can we do community with the youth online. And so we're talking about a bunch of ideas, so hopefully we'll have some good ideas coming out tomorrow. So cool. As saying all that, my big encouragement to you is it's real easy at this time to just be like, oh, too much online, it's freaking me out, I need to just chill, I'm not going to do that, and you're going to drift away from the community. My prayer, my request to you, I guess, as one of the pastors at CBC, is to not allow that to happen. I feel at this time we need to be real intentional about staying together as a community. If you've got prayer requests, text me, text the prayer network. We want to pray for you, we really do. If you have needs, if you need someone to get groceries for you, pick up medicines for you, come and mow your lawns, whatever. This is the time to be sharing that and asking people to care for you and bless you. We want this time to draw us together as a community rather than allow us to just drift apart. So I'm just asking you to be real intentional about this. Maybe each day in the evening or in the morning you could watch one of those little encouragements together. Just you and your family, your whaanau, just come together, watch that, maybe have a little prayer together. Make an effort to hook into those Wednesday, the worship Wednesdays. Make an effort to be together on a Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. So that all over Kirikiriroa, and we're way out in Cambridge, we as a church are just coming together online, to worship Jesus, to be encouraged as we hear from the Word. So again, I know it's easy to just drift, but we want to be intentional about community, we want to be intentional about caring for one another. So that's where we're heading. Hey, let me pray and then I'm going to do a message. My message is literally like 12 minutes long, I think. So if you're like me, the first thing I ever do when I watch an online video is look at the scroll bar down the bottom. How long is this thing going to be? So I'm aiming for about 12. So if you're looking at it now, hopefully you're seeing that there's only about 12 minutes to go. So that's where I'm heading. Let me pray and then we'll get into the little message for this morning. Yeah, Almighty God, we love you. This is such a crazy time. Man, if someone had told me 2 weeks ago, even a month ago, that we would be moving church online, that we would be trying to do community in a whole new way online and not meeting together, I would have just shaken my head and laughed. We know you're not surprised by this. We know you love community, as Dave preached last Sunday. So we need you to guide us in this time, God. This is real new for us as a staff and an eldership, as we're trying to figure out how to do this best, and for us as a whole faith community. How do we do community online? How do we care for one another? How do we share our needs? Please keep us together, God. I just call out to you in the name of your Son, Jesus, and I ask that through this time we would be amazed we would be in awe that you, the Almighty Creator of the universe, have used this time where everything is yelling to us to isolate, to protect, to keep away, and that you, through technology, would actually bring us tighter and tighter together, God. Yeah. Help us to be intentional. Help us to love one another more than we ever have before. Yeah, I pray this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, hey, sermon time. Again, pretty short. I'm only going to look at one verse, which drives me crazy because I'm such a verse nerd, and to only look at a couple of verses, I'm freaking out. So today we're looking at the fourth marker of maturity, and this one is the humble service one, which I just think is hilarious that I'm talking about how do we serve one another in humility when the planet is going completely nuts. So if you are with us last Sunday or you caught the podcast, Dave did a really cool job last Sunday of talking about community, and he just kept saying only Jesus could have scheduled us. We scheduled this series like last year. Only Jesus could have scheduled us to be talking about community at a time when we need community. And as I've been thinking about this humble service one this week, I'm doing the same thing. I'm like, man, only Jesus could bring us together to think about humble service for one another at a time when everyone's running around and doing everything but humble service and thinking about themselves way more than anyone else. I think this is a real hard one to do, to be honest. Let me kind of fly through them. The first one was to be more like Jesus, right? We're talking about Christ-likeness. It's like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that. That's cool. I'm all about being more like Jesus. The second one, Tina brought us that cool message on the Bible. And I'm like, man, I'm all about the Bible. It's where the power of God is. I want to do that. Last week, Dave talked about consistent community. And I'm like, man, that's me. I'm a pastor of all things. I'm all about community and people. That's me. And then I come to this one, I'm kind of like, whoa, humble service. I don't know about this one. This is going to cost me. This is going to take some sacrifice on my part. So I don't know. I think when it adds this word humility to it, service is big enough, but when you add the word humility, it's kind of like, whoa, this is pretty heavy. And I just go, this is exactly what our planet needs at the moment, right? It feels like this is the most opposite to society that you could get at the moment. Society right now is saying it is all about me. I am the most important person. My needs are paramount in my reality. I'm happy for you to have a good life and I'm happy for you to have your needs met, but as long as it doesn't mess with my needs. As long as it doesn't detract from me being fulfilled and happy and joyful. And that is the core of society, right? And we've seen it in supermarkets. We've seen it with supplies. Right now there's looting and rioting going on in some of the big cities in America, and they've rolled out the National Guard. Why? Because people are saying it's all about me. I am the most important. There's no humble service. There's no caring for other people there at all. It's about me having the best life I can, and don't you dare mess with me having the best life. If you get in my road, I will fight you over toilet paper. I'm like, really? That just blows my brains. Hey, let me start with this quote. This is going to come up on the screen so you can follow along. It's quite a long quote, and I'll unpack it a little bit as I go. We will never really serve others unless we see that the needs of our neighbours are as real and as important as our own. It's cool, right? If I don't see my neighbours as important as me, I'm not going to care about them. I'm not going to care about their needs. Adele Calhoun, who this quote comes from, carries on. She says, "This may seem obvious, but the truth of the matter is many of us look right through others and never see them, let alone care about what they need." That is exactly what's happening in supermarkets around the planet right now. People are seeing other people who have needs and they look right through them. Man, I do this all the time, right? I'm sitting in traffic. I don't see the people around me. I'm at the supermarket just wanting to get my stuff and get out of there. I don't see the people around me. It's about me. It's about my needs. I'm not living in humble service when I'm at the supermarket, right? I'm not necessarily living in humble service when I'm stuck in traffic and someone's trying to get in on me. I want to squash up to that car, She carries on, right? Service is rooted in seeing others as God does. God cares about productive and non-productive people, poor people and rich people, educated and non-educated people. God cares about everybody. And if we harbour hatred that breeds neglect of any of God's people, we are hindering the Spirit of Jesus. Man, just pause for a minute and reflect on that. That is such a powerful statement. If we harbour hatred that breeds neglect of any of God's people, we are hindering the Spirit of Jesus. The quote carries on, "The Spirit of Jesus is a compassionate, serving Spirit that always works for the good of others." Isn't that powerful? always works for the good of others. Jesus maintains that radical love for others. Jesus maintains that radical love for others demonstrates whether we know God or not. That last line is pretty powerful, right? Jesus maintains that radical love for others demonstrates whether we know God or not. Read 1 John 4. That middle section of 1 John 4, that is exactly what John's saying. You look at John 15, it says the same thing. Pretty powerful. Hey, just to illustrate it, it's not rocket science. You can see this all over the place, right? You see people seeing through people right now. You see people seeing my needs are more important than everyone else. Humble service is not on the cards at the moment. The last thing people are thinking about is serving others. I just can't believe people have been fighting over toilet paper. If I'd said to you 6 months ago, in 6 months' time you will have security guards guarding toilet paper and guarding hand sanitizer, you would have laughed and gone, okay, Craig, I think you're working too much, or you need to calm down, right? And now we're literally seeing that. We're seeing supermarkets overseas and in New Zealand employing security guards to protect. Oh, it just blows me away. Why is that? Why is that? It's because I am more important than you. My happiness is more important than you. I will stockpile toilet paper, and I do not care that you have no toilet paper. I'm even saying this now, I'm like, this is just bizarre. Society is not about humble service. It's about me. And Jesus says that is not what servants of Jesus Christ look like. They are humble servants. And at this time, we need to see people. We need to see our neighbours. We need to be broken for them. We need to be aware of their needs. Many food, many essential supplies are completely gone from supermarkets in a lot of the US and in parts of Europe. Even in some of the stores in New Zealand, people have just stockpiled stuff because I'm more important, right? I'm more important than you. It just blows me away. Hey, the verse I'm going to read is from Philippians 2. You probably know this passage really well. This is a cool little section, so let me read this. If you've got your device, maybe pause the video and grab it. If you've got a Bible, grab it. It's good to just follow along, eh? Let me read this. This is Philippians 2. I'm just reading verses 3 and 4. It says, don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. Don't look out only for your own interest, but take an interest in others too. Man, I just find this super powerful, right? True community requires humble service to one another. You can't have true, helpful, real community without humble service. And like Paul says, thinking of others is better than yourself. Let me just go through these real brief. I just have 2 points. The first one is don't be selfish. That's what Paul starts that section off with. He explains in verse 4 that you're not selfish when you take an interest in others and you don't only look out for your own interests. Again, this is exactly what we are not seeing in society. It's all about my interests. Let's pause for a moment and ask the question, okay, what does this look like? What does it look like right now in the midst of what we're going through as a nation, as a community? What does it look like right now for me to not be selfish and to take an interest in others? What does it look like for me to not look for my own interests, but for the interest of others? Now, it's important to notice, Paul doesn't say, forget your own interests. He doesn't say you're worthless. He says, don't only consider your own interests. Consider the interests of others. What does that look like for you? How are you going to live as a humble servant of Jesus in this crazy time? A simple thing my sister did. She's my sister, so I'm the brother, so I think she's weird and strange, right? But I thought this is pretty cool. So what she did is she just wrote a little note and put it in the letterboxes of all her neighbours. She lives in a little cul-de-sac, and she knows a bunch of her neighbours. And what she put on the card was simply, hey, I really care about you. My name's Vicky Johnson. I really care about you. If there's any way I can help you, well, I'd love to help you. Can I go to the store and pick up any supplies for you? Is there any medication, anything I could do around that? And I care for you, could I pray for you? If there's anything I could pray for you. And then she put her email address and her cell phone number. So up to you how much information you want to put on there. And I was like, man, that's so simple. That's really simple. That's putting the needs of others ahead of my needs. It's going to take time. It's going to take energy. Who knows what people are going to ask her to do. But she's saying, no, this is really important. I want to be a humble servant of my neighbours. Joseph and I have talked about it, and we're like, we need to do that. So Saturday, tomorrow, so that's what we're going to be doing, is writing that little note. We live out in the country on a little country road. We're going to go and put it in everyone's letterbox. Hey, how can we be a humble servant for you? That's the first point, right? Don't be selfish. The second point is pretty simple. Be humble. Be humble, right? Pretty easy to say, but pretty hard to do. And Paul explains this in those verses as thinking of others as better than yourselves. Again, he's not saying think of yourself as worthless. He's not saying that at all. Paul would never say that. But he's saying think of others as better than yourselves. And some versions would say think of others as more important than yourselves. So again, let's pause. What does this look like at this time? What does it look like for me to think of others as more important than myself, right? As better than myself? How am I going to change the way I'm doing life right now to be a humble servant of those around me? So a simple way I've thought of it is that when I go to the supermarket, I want to see people. When I go to the supermarket, I hate going to the supermarket. I want to get in, do my shopping and get out. I hate it. I went to the Mill Street Pack and Save on Thursday afternoon and it was insanity. They had security guards on the door and they were only letting a certain number of people into the store at a time, which I thought was bizarre. But then when I got into the store, it was just pandemonium and there was gridlock. I've never had supermarket gridlock before. And you know, at the stores how you have like 2 aisles coming in that big central aisle, I was like weaving through people carefully but not seeing them, right? And then I got to the middle and we were literally gridlocked and I was like, this is bizarre. No one can move. All that shopping cart, it was just hilarious. How do I see the people at the supermarket? It's pretty simple, right? I need to stop and pause and slow down, not be in such a hurry to get home. I need to notice that old lady that's reaching down to try and get a can that's right down at that low thing. I need to see that couple that's having an argument about something. Man, how do I stop and say something? Do I just pause near them and just ask in Jesus' name, you know, in my mind as I talk to Jesus, bless them, bring them peace right now, remove that anxiety. You know, how do I see people? How do I live in humble service towards people? What does that look like, right? What does that look like? Pretty simple, I think. And let me finish with a little quote from Martin Luther King. He said, everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. I love that, eh? Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. Okay, so final question. How are you going to intentionally practice humble service this week and see it as an indicator that you're indeed becoming more and more like Jesus? Remember, this is a sort of maturity, like indicators that we're striving to be more like Jesus. We're growing in Christ's likeness. How are we going to do that? Let me finish with a little prayer. Yeah, Jesus, we want to be more like you. We do. We want to be people that live in humble service, but for a lot of us, it's kind of like, shit, it's going to cost me. It's going to be hard. I'm literally going to have to think of others as better than myself or as more important than myself. How am I going to do that? We need your guidance, Jesus. We need your direction. We need your care. We need your insight. Some of us need you to change our heart a bit. Some of us are a little hard when it comes to seeing others and seeing their needs and putting aside our own needs and going, how can I help? How can I serve? This is going to cost me. We want to be followers of Jesus that live out humble service and that shock society. We want to see people going, whoa, whoa, whoa. This is a time of like isolation and, you know, the strongest will survive, and yet you're willing to put your needs aside and serve me? What is happening? We want that to be true of our faith community, Jesus. Yeah, speak to us, guide us. We long for that. Help us to come together at this time and be a more powerful community of people through CBC than we've ever been before in our lives, God. Yeah, we love you. We submit our wills to you always. Pray this in Jesus' name. Cool. May the Lord bless you. May He keep you close to Him this coming week. Yeah. Ka kite anō.